Thank you, Honorable Chair, Speaker. I was going to deal with two matters, but the Minister, the Attorney General has just stepped out, and I don't want to speak in his absence. And the other one had to do with higher education, partially, but the Honorable Minister of Lower and Basic Education is here. And for your sake, I will talk about it, and I trust that you will discuss it with your colleague of higher education. Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, names don't change anything, and they don't add value to anything. Historically, when Crab Island was constructed, it was called Crab Island Technical School, because historically it was supposedly meant for children who were not academically bent, so they should be given technical training. It was a wrong idea, but that was the situation. And as we went on, the name changed from Technical High School to Senior Secondary School, Junior Secondary School. But it was still the same Crab Island, the same teachers, the same subject matters were being taught there, but the name kept on changing, thinking that changing the name would change this whole product of the school. But it did not change it. And now it has become Crab Island Junior Secondary School. Now it has disappeared. We were told, in fact, before this President talked about it, we discussed it with the Minister of Higher Education. It was the bill he brought, which was thrown away. It was there that he said he was going to change GTTI into a University of Science and Technology, and MDI as University of Management and so on. That was what the President read in his speech. That was what was reported to him, and that's what he brought here. Some members here are happy about that, as if calling GTTI University of Technology and Engineering is going to transform it automatically. That is exactly what they said. That is exactly what is being done in GTTI now. They are doing technology and engineering. And they have a modern state-of-art equipment given to them by India. There is a huge, I would say, factory where they can create anything. Nails of any size they can create. Barbed wire of any type they can create. These plastic bottles you have seen, they can create them there. And many more. They can even build machines there. Right now, engineers are doing that there. It is not the name that matters, but what is done there that matters. Giving them the power to do it, empower them by giving them the means to do what they are supposed to. They have all that they need to do. It's not the name. Changing GTTI into a university is creating and compounding our problems. The university there is already a big problem. It is a university in name, not a university in practice. In a fully fledged university, every department is headed by a professor. How many of them do you have in the University of the Gambia now? How many? 1, 2? Most of the lecturers there are holders of MA or MSc. There are few. The professor, the vice chancellor said in my presence, few were having terminal degrees. Now, if you say these two are also going to become universities, where are you going to get the lecturers? Already you are your university is starved of lecturers. I mean, when I say lecturers, I mean professors. I mean people with terminal degrees, fully fledged persons who are capable of lecturing. It is not that name. University of London is composed of several colleges, fleet of colleges. School of Oriental and African Studies is part and parcel of University of London. Institute of Education is part and parcel of London University. Birkbeck College is part and parcel of London University. Queen Mary College, which is one of the best medical schools in the world, is part and parcel of the University of London. So name does not matter. We should think of something else, not names. And for me to merge Gambia College into the university will be a tragedy of the highest type, educationally speaking. Gambia College should continue to exist independently. But what you need to do is to empower it further. If you merge it into the university, you are killing the whole spirit of producing teachers. They should remain as they are and just become part and parcel of the university. That's all we need. And then if you transform GTTI and MDI into university, what are you going to do with the staff who are there now? That's another question. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to promote them? Are you going to upgrade them? Even where they don't have the qualification, are you going to upgrade them? Is that how you are going to run this institution? Let us not compound our problems. These institutions are apt and good the way they are. All that they need is give them all the materials, all the equipment, all the monies they need to do their work. University of Gambia, it is still a problem for us. Let us try and solve the problem with the university. The University of Gambia is a big problem. They are facing huge problems. That is what we should try to address, not to compound it by making this university just for the sake of having. Gambia has 3 universities, 4 universities. Hey, when they cannot run even one. Honorable Speaker, I trust the Honorable Minister of Basic and Secondary Education will talk to his colleague about this matter. Let us think critically about this. The name don't matter. What matter we all know. Let us look and give those to this institution. Happy, the Attorney General is here. Honorable Speaker, I'm happy that you have come in. When a person is convicted, the terms of his or her conviction are stated and explained to him or her. Generally, they could include, we sentence you to 6 months imprisonment with hard labor. But I've never heard any conviction amounting to sentencing somebody to bad food, bad bathing facilities, and denial to access to education. Imprisonment should not boil down to that. And imprisonment is not meant to dehumanize, it's meant to humanize people. It's to make it possible for you to come back rehabilitated in the society. Imprisonment should help you to change, to become even better than what you were before you came into prison. But our prisons are dehumanizing, denying people food to eat. I would have been happy. I was happy. I thought he was going to be here. I would have been happy if the Vice President was in, because he can attest to what I am saying. He lived it for years. And there is another member here who lived it. I wish he were here. The food they eat Anybody who eats that for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, you come back out of prison, you become almost sick. Because it is not a balanced diet. And what type of bedding do they provide for you? Saying the conviction does not say that you should sleep on bad bed. That's not what, it's not stated in the conviction. No, it said that if you want to have education, you cannot have access to education. Or you should not have access to newspapers. Why? Or you have no access to books. Why? We know that the man who had ruled Zimbabwe for 30-something years acquired all his degrees in prison. Ndamaningi is totally likewise. But here, why is it not? And then somebody was talking about those who are in the, how is it called again, the remand wing. I once went there, I cried. Because I saw kids there, they are kids. They have been there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They have been denied the joy of having education. Such children should be allowed to continue to acquire education if they were in school. And even if they were not in school, if they want to go to school, it should be provided for them. Why is it not happening in our society? We are now in a changed Gambia, we claim. So everything must change with it. And this is one fundamental thing that must change in the new Gambia. Prisoners are human beings. They have a right to education. They have a right to good food. They have a right to have good bedding. Otherwise, when they come out, they are dead. And imprisonment is not meant to kill, but it's meant to help you to grow better. That cannot happen if the condition, the president said the condition, but I'm sure you were talking about infrastructural transformation of prisons, but that's not enough. All these changes must go with it, otherwise there is no change. I've been there several times and I know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I was in prison there, but I was there to see what is there. So let nobody go and misquote me and say, see, they said he was in prison several times. No. Because that's what they do. Before somebody sends this in the media now, see, I was in prison. No, I was not in prison. But I went on my free will to see. In fact, somebody called me to come to go there because he wanted something. He wanted me to do something for me, twice. But the remand wing, Honorable Speaker, we need to go and see what is there. It must change, it must stop. Because it is killing those children. It's denying them the joy to have education, the joy to be changed, to grow up as proper human beings, humanized human beings. If we don't do that, we are committing crime against our people. For me, prison is just not what people think it is. People think when you are in prison, you should be denied everything. That is not true. Your punishment is to be there. Your punishment is to do hard labor. But your punishment is not to eat good food, not to have a good place to sleep. No, that's not your punishment. It's not part of it. No law will say that. Huh? Yes, okay, even the issue of medics. Before somebody is taken to the hospital here for treatment, you are already half dead. There should be proper, but they should have at least some of these medical facilities in the prison itself. Because it's possible that somebody falls sick at night.
Honorable Member, 2 minutes more.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because this is the last one. I will not touch any matter concerning a ministry whose minister is not here. I have vowed never to talk on adjournment if ministers are not here. I'm talking because we are here and she's here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woodley West.